So, it's hard, at this stage of my career, it's getting hard to remember what I tell different groups of people and what I say in different venues, because with all honesty, I repurpose some material. I have to speak a lot, and I don't always have brand new material. And over the years, this event, always had a couple of ideas that I shared. I would always come up and tell the parents, how unbelievably talented the kids were, and that over the years hasn't changed. Your kids are just spectacularly talented, more so than ever. It almost begets reason how we can continue to have more and more and more students meet this threshold of talent that your kids have. It really is very hard to understand, and every year we expect it to be less, and it never is. And then I talked about the scholarships, and I said, well, last year's graduating class, I used to play this game where I said, well, guess how much money the graduating class got here? And it's a loaded question because it's astonishingly large number. And people go, 1 million. And I go, no, it's more than that. We used to play this whole game until I got all the way up to 35 million. And I would say, okay, well, the graduating class last year got a combined scholarship total of $35 million. And people would go, holy mackerel, it's unbelievable. And it is, but it's normal here. It's what we do annually. So if it's what we do annually, it's nearly what we expect. But to put perspective on that, all of the other high schools in Henderson combined don't exceed $35 million. So Liberty, plus Foothill, plus Green Valley, plus Basic, plus SECTA, all included, don't exceed $35 million. And for us, again, it becomes normal. And almost so normal that when I call my boss at the end of the year and she goes, how was the year? I go, we were pretty good again. 35 million in scholarships. We had, 100 million kids get an advanced honors diploma. 70% of the graduate class. I spout all of these statistics, and they're baffling. And I used to care deeply about those things. I really did. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a super competitive guy, and I like winning more than anyone I know. I really enjoy winning. But what I like more than winning is I like working really hard at something and then winning. Because there's a different feeling to when you have to give something all you have and perform at the highest level and beat a really talented competitor. If you then win, it feels a lot different than if you show up and beat the brakes off of somebody you were supposed to already win. And this thing at Coronado, we work really, really hard. So when you pour your energy and your emotion and your soul into something, and you really care about it deeply, and then you perform, and then we would beat, if you can beat, I don't know how you beat other schools at school, like I don't know what the metric is to have more school than the other school. Incidentally, if that metric mattered, we were the only 5-star comprehensive high school in Southern Nevada, the only one. So, I don't know if that's winning though. And if it is winning, I don't know what we win. We got the most stars. And truth be told, what does that really mean to you as a parent? Not probably very much, because you care about your kid, and it's nice to say your kid goes to a school that measurably does well, but what does 5 stars really mean to you as it pertains to the education and the experience that your child's going to have? And the answer to that is nothing. It means nothing. So I used to care deeply about those things. And as I got older, and as I've been in this job longer, this is my 21st year. This is my 12th year as principal at Coronado. I gave out my first diploma as a high school principal in 2005. That was the first year I was a high school principal. I was a dean at Bob Miller Middle School in 2003. If that gives you any context. And we reached this point where now I'm standing today in front of the class of 2028. 2028. And I'm sad to say this, but I've put this out there, and I'm not saying it because I like saying it. I'm saying it because it's part of my own journey as principal. This will be the first graduating class that I don't speak at graduation. I retire in 3 years. And that is a deeply upsetting thing to me. I have friends in the audience. I have colleagues. I have people that I've known for many, many years. And the idea that I'm not going to be the person person that gives the commencement address and hands their kid, who in some cases I've known for the better part of a decade, their high school diploma, is really upsetting to me. It's really, and actually not only is it upsetting, it's a different reality that I'm learning to adjust to. That I'm going to have a different life after Coronado High School. And I've been coming to Coronado High School for so long that I don't remember doing anything else. So, but last year something really interesting happened to me. My oldest daughter graduated from Coronado High School. And I'm going to tell you, I looked forward to it from the day that I got here. The day I got to Coronado High School, Cameron was in the 3rd grade. She began the 3rd grade. And I told the interview panel, none of which are sitting on the stage. One is sitting in the audience. But the interview panel was all the department chairs. I told them in the job interview that if my career goes correctly, I will have the opportunity to sign my daughter's diploma. That's a really interesting idea, right? Some small town kind of stuff in a really large city. But it was only an idea. Yes, it sounded like something clever to say in an interview, and it was an interesting thing. But when an idea becomes real, it's a whole other thing. Like many of you tonight, this is the first moment that you're sitting here, maybe in some cases having a realization, oh my goodness, my kid's in high school. Like for real, like they're really in high school. I remember dropping them off at kindergarten. And I remember the first t-ball baseball game. And I remember the first music lesson. And here I stand with a 9th grader. And it's a real moment where you're like, holy, ... So when I used to stand up here and talk about 5 stars and $35 million in scholarships and all of these things to impress upon our parent community how fantastic our school was, over time, my opinions, those things are still really important, but what I found as I've gotten older is I care deeply about different things than I used to. And if you notice, I was sitting up there reading this book while Mr. Pileski was talking. I wasn't being rude, I was listening to him. I still have that teacher skill where I can listen and read at the same time. But this is the book that the first class signed in. And your kids are going to sign in the second book. We filled this whole book with kids. This whole book. And when we started this idea, 10 years ago, we did it because we thought we could provide kids and families an experience that would increase the value of their education. This was all about providing an experience that was going to challenge kids and was going to make kids be a part of something that was going to help them go to college, but also to give them some memories in high school. And not only did we do that, so much more came out of that than I ever expected. But this artifact was the very first day. And interestingly enough, I used to tell the story like it was bought at Barnes & Noble on like the rack by the front of the store. You know, like where they're trying to get rid of stuff? You know, it's like, oh, the journal books for $3, or I don't know how much we paid for it. But Mr. Anderson, he was the previous department chair, he went and bought it. And it looked all Harry Potter-y. It's got like this leather cover, and it felt all distinguished, right? And Dr. Barkowitz told me it's full. Last year's class is the first one. So I had to get a new book. And the first thing I thought was, what's she going to get for a new book? Well, this is how much the people here care about your kids. Jen went to the end of the internet and found the same book. I couldn't believe it. I was like, where'd you get that? She was like, I don't know, the internet's a deep place, man. It appeared. It just showed up like it was meant to be, right? So this thing that we had no idea, we got volume 2. I don't know how she's going to get the third one. If she was smart, she would have bought 3 right at the
Get
time.
it now.
But, now, with that being said, she is smart because she knows she's going to be gone in 10 years, so that's going to be somebody else's problem. But more importantly than the book tells a story, right? But it's this little snapshot in time. And like you can't get off the first page without seeing this story. So if you can't see this, right, I'll tell you what it says. It says, endorsed by the superintendent and board of school trustees, 2014-15, and there's a line for each of them to sign, and it's the logo for the Academy. And for those of you sitting in the front, you can see that there are no signatures in this book. Because the board refused to sign it because they said it constituted a contract. It's a real story. We just wanted an artifact for our school. We weren't asking the board to endorse our program in such a way that we're asking for money or magnet school seats. We just thought their signatures in here would give us a stamp in time. Like, these were the members of the board of trustees, this was the superintendent, and we got a thanks, no thanks, we're not going to sign your book. And it's empty. It's empty. Second book don't have that, we're not asking again. And then you flip to the first page, right? And you can't get past the fifth kid. Now, guys, in full disclosure, there are thousands and thousands of kids who come through here every year. I don't get an opportunity to know them all intimately the way that Mr. Pileski is actually one of the few teachers that sees every single student in the academy. So he does really have opportunity to know every kid. And I would never lie about that relationship. I don't get to know every kid the same way some of the teachers do. But when I get to the fifth name, I see this name says Alexis Alamido. And Alexis Alamido, for those of you that don't know, was this super talented dancer here at Coronado. She actually, as her life story goes, and I'm sure Lexi would not mind so much if I told this story, and if she does, I will offer her apology because I do see her every now and then. Lexi works for the Clark County School District. She works in the Family Engagement Office as a photographer. But before that, she was a Las Vegas Raiderette. And before that, she worked for the Golden Knights as one of their professional dancers. Like, Lexi took dance all the way to the end of her career, all the way to up and including being an NFL sideline cheerleader. And then on the next page, and I won't say their name because I don't see them quite as often as I see Lexi, there's a Harvard grad. And you think about that, and you think about the scope of what this is. This is an artifact that tells stories by names of experiences that kids have had, not because, let me be very clear about this, not because of the AP Academy, but because they chose to pursue their lives with the aggression and the talent and the dreams to do what they wanted to do, and then had the courage to get those things done. Guys, it's hard. High school's hard. If you've not already realized that, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult. It will not be easy. But again, the belief in working hard towards something and then achieving your goals is a core foundation of what we try to do. This class in particular is a class that I think is going to have an interesting time at Coronado High School, because for the first time in 15 years, there will be a new administration at the end, a new principal at the end. And with that being said, the core of what happens at Coronado, the most important thing that happens at Coronado, done by the most important people at Coronado, will not change. And not only will it not change, it will likely to never change so long as we continue to perform. Because the quality and caliber of the teaching faculty here is beyond what you could hope for in any public school anywhere. And here's what I can tell you for sure. I shouldn't say for sure, we don't know anything for sure, but Matt Pileski will likely be still involved with our school, and Jen Barton in the back will likely still be involved with our school, and Katie Merritt will likely still be involved with our school. And if it all goes accordingly, the core of what we do will continue to build on itself, and your kids are going to have the exact same experience as anyone before them. And when they sign this book, I'm going to leave you with these last thoughts. The way that I usually end the program is probably the way that I should start the program, which is high school will go by in the blink of an eye. And if you don't make time to participate, and if you don't make time to demand that your kids share with you, and if you don't make time to make sure that your children participate with you while they're in high school, it will be over before you know it. So if you notice, if anybody was watching me on the stage, you would have noticed that at one point, I took my phone out and took a picture of a page in the book. And you're all really smart people. I sent that picture to my kid sitting in college and said, hey, look what night it is tonight. And I snapped a picture, and I sent it to her. And what she responded with, I'm going to keep between her and I. But I will promise you this, I miss her every single day. she's not that far away. She's up in Reno. She's having a tremendous experience. She is doing exceptionally well, and she is as happy as she could possibly be. But that does not mean that while I am endlessly proud of that, I miss her every day. So, as you have freshmen sitting here, the only advice I can give to you, and the most important advice I can give to you is, demand to be a part of what your children do. And even when they blow you off, do it anyway. They will get over it. And if they don't, make sure to snap a picture of it so that you have that to torture them with when they go to college and call you every 5 minutes about how much they miss you and want to come home. Because there's lots of sides to this coin, but just so you know, when we were 15 and we knew it all and it turned out we didn't know nothing about nothing, they're not any different. They think they know everything about everything, and they too don't know nothing about nothing. The significant difference is, man, they are smart. They are so much smarter than I was when I was a kid. I won't speak for any of you, but there is no chance I could have done in high school what they do in high school. None. So this event is intended to be informal. We're going to go through the event and we're going to take pictures. This is not graduation, ladies and gentlemen. Please feel free to take photos and do those kind of things. And then I'm going to close and give you some remarks. And in anticipation of those closing remarks, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. If I mess up your night tonight, I don't mean to. I do a little tiny bit. But if it makes a jam up in your night, you got to take my advice. Because coming from a dad who knows better, and I'm not suggesting that people here don't, your night's going to get a little longer than you think, or at least it's my intention to make it a little longer than you thought it was going to be. So I'm going to invite the next speaker to come up. We're going to go ahead and go through the program, and the kids are going to come across the sign. Please take photos and feel free to videotape and do all those kind of fun things. And then I'll close the event with some closing remarks at the end. Thank you so much. Without your help, we couldn't be the fabulous school that we are. And more than that, without your fabulous children. You guys, thank you very much for having me.